Hello, this is Dale Matthews, and I'm joined by Mike. No, that's not Mike. That's a pig. I'm joined by Mike Jones. Hello, Mike Jones.
I resent that implication.
I
I've
resemble
been
that remark.
yes, I've been off of my little workout program for a couple of weeks, but I'm not a pig.
No, he's not a pig. Well,
I have gained a little weight though. I have to
oh,
admit.
well,
Yeah.
okay, yes. Right. So we report about pork, and then yeah. So there were a number of things that happened today. Are you feeling this? Mike and I definitely are. The news is speeding up. Is it because we're covering it? No, but something's going on here. Well,
Yeah.
there's a lot of different things, and we're just going to give you a little teaser about an event that happened today. Show that little teaser there, Mike. So those are anti-levy people. I rolled down my window and yelled out, "Get a job!"
Yes, I know. All these, look at all the gray hairs out there.
Right.
Don't they have anything better to do? Jeez.
Well, they are taking an active part in their community, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they are. And we were there, and there was a big pig there. There's a big pig, and we're going to tell you about that big pig. But the first thing that we're going to do is there was a press conference at the staging area for Oath Keepers. And somehow, instead of the mine owners having the press conference, was Oath Keepers having a press conference. But they were revealing some things. That's here. They were revealing some things that they found out recently. We should tell you that they've been putting in the mine owners and their lawyer have been putting in Freedom of Information Act requests, FOIA requests for information that they need about their case, because they keep saying, well, these guys do own the property, and the BLM has said, no, they don't. They don't own that property. The rules are completely different. And they've been having a very hard time getting the documents. So something interesting happened. We're going to play this back, and then we're going to talk about it. That's what we do on this show.
Oath Keepers Josephine County is provided with physical documentation, which includes the following information: signed and notarized affidavits regarding missing or destroyed documentation within BLM, email messages from BLM employees mentioning destruction, disposal of documents, email messages from BLM employee mentioning the BLM's practice of destroying mines, equipment, and structures, email messages from BLM employees mentioning the use of foam to close up mines, causing the miners to dig out the foam and operate the mine again. These documents were presented to us yesterday. They're very substantial. We have the affidavits, and we have a variety of emails. These are directly from BLM employees. What this shows is a pattern of BLM willfully destroying records, not maintaining records, unable to find records. And with the current Sugar Pine mine issue, this becomes critical because this mine dates back to the 1800s, 1846. So in here, an email from a BLM employee. I attached a PDF of the one stamp mill, the Blackjack Mine, which is part of these mining claims, that I stumbled across in a silviculture file. Wish we had more, but I suspect most of our historic stuff ended up in the circular file. So in here, with all this documentation, it shows a pattern of BLM willfully destroying and records. Now, as the Sugar Pine miners go through their fight with BLM, they have, for the last 6 months, they have 14 FOIA requests that have not been answered by BLM. I wonder why. All of this documentation was provided to the FBI, and we are hoping the FBI is launching an investigation into the destruction of these records, which proved critical to what the Sugar Pine mine owners are looking for. They've been asking for records. BLM has not provided them records. And then as their legal battle goes on, here's the evidence: BLM's been destroying those records. Thank you.
That's serious.
Wow. Yeah. And you wonder if these guys are destroying documents. This is a historical record here. Why isn't somebody doing something about that? How come how come they can do that kind of thing and get away with it? What's the FBI going to do? I mean, we know from, national politics over the last 5 or 6 years, seeing how these kind of things go, nothing ever happens. No one's ever held accountable to this kind of thing. I'm not confident anything's going to happen on that. But if they can just willy-nilly destroy historical records, what's the possibility for these people to have their case heard in a just way by reference to the historical documents? Zero.
Well, I'll tell you, many times people say to us, well, what can we do about this? Cheryl Walker, she violated the state election law. Keith Heck said, I know we're breaking the law and I don't care. These guys are destroying documents. Where's our justice? Now, I don't know if you're going to like this very much, everybody, but there's only one place that you're going to get any kind of justice. It's in the court of public opinion, and this is the place. What, it's going to be in the Courier? It's going to be on KJO? No, actually, this show is the only place your opinions about this. That's the only. Look, I went to Wally Hicks. I like Wally Hicks. I want to like Wally Hicks. And I said, we know that Cheryl Walker broke the law last Wednesday because we've been given instructions. We know what the instructions are, and it's posted on the door. Do not advocate for or against any ballot measure past this date. And she did. And she did that last year. And we turned it into the state. And we gave them the videotape. Okay. Now, don't get discouraged. There's a nice ending to this. We're going to pretend like there's a nice ending to this. And the state said, well, we're just not sure that we're actually going to enforce this law, Dale.
Yeah, really? Well, they're not going to. She's not the right kind of elected official. If she were a Sandy Casanelli, they'd be leading her off, making her do the perp walk.
Okay. Then I went to County Legal Counsel today, Wally Hicks. He's elected, and I said, I just got out of a meeting where the commissioners have been warned. All the budget committee members have been warned. Once the budget committee hearings start, there's a very strong rule by state law that says you cannot discuss the budget outside of the budget committee meetings. So there's a quorum of county commissioners in today's general discussion, and they're talking about what they're going to do and proposing things and maybe changing things for the budget. It's obviously against the law. They were given admonitions every year about this, and they did it anyway. Now, when I first told Wally Hicks about Cheryl Walker, he said, well, I'm at a loss about what can be done. He's an elected legal counsel. He's not under the control of the commissioners. He was elected by us. He's the only one in the state. And so what he's supposed to do, not just in my opinion, but what he's supposed to do is he's supposed to represent things that are legal. If you have a problem with parks, you go to the parks director. With transit, you go to Scott Chansey. With legal issues, you go to Wally Hicks. And he can at least write a letter or say to the commissioners, don't break the law, please. Hey, Wally, you can say that to him, and that's what I told him. So today when I went to him, he said to me, well, I told you what his exact wording was. Mike, make sure I get this right. He said, something about this being a waste of time, or do you really think that this is a good idea to try to pursue this? Wally, you're the elected legal counsel. Can you at least give them advice? See, part of his job is to make sure that we don't go wrong and the commissioners don't go wrong. He doesn't work for them. He works for us. As to give them some advice, guys, we know that you just broke the law again. Don't do that. Okay? So then the bottom line question is about these fellows. Okay? They've been putting in Freedom of Information Act requests. Under our charter, don't you think that one of the people that ought to write a letter to the BLM saying, what the heck do you think that you're doing destroying these records, should be our elected legal counsel, Wally Hicks? That's not going to have the effect of law, but he is supposed to represent us in legal issues.
Right. And yeah, and technically, if you're not more than technically, if you're destroying documents that pertain to this county, yeah, I would think that the county legal counsel or the commissioners or both would be interested in that sort of thing.
Now he could say, and probably will say, well, I haven't been instructed by the commissioners. Buddy, you're elected. And you made it clear when you went in and you made your presentation to the commissioners that when Cheryl Walker said, well, I don't like some of the things that are in your mission statement. Hey, you know, this is not an editing session. Hooray, good for Wally Hicks. You don't need to be instructed by the county, by commissioners, by cheating and lying commissioners, first of all. You don't need to be instructed by them to protect citizens' rights. You're elected by us. You're our legal counsel too. You made that clear. So when are you going to take action as a legal counsel, not about a pig, about these guys?
Yeah. Listen, he may not do it. And, you know, I mean, this has been a long run. I mean, how many times have you gotten the satisfaction of a commissioner or somebody, you know, in county government actually being rebuked for their activity by somebody in authority?
There's only one place. It's in the court of public opinion. Now, we know that the commissioner's trust ratio is about as low as you can possibly get. I mean, even Cuffs and SOS said, please don't endorse this levy. Really? They're doing it anyway, but please don't. Why would they say that to him? Because they know that the effect of commissioners backing something is toxic. Why Mike's reputation is better than theirs.
Yes, only poquito.
They have, our reputation's actually getting big. We've got more and more and more and more viewers. We got like 30 times the views that they have on the stuff that they put out. We're beating the pants off of the Daily Courier. Kjo doesn't even have any pants. We're getting calls from Channel 5. Can you please tell us what's happening? Can you tell us what's happening? Really?
Well, yeah, the thing is that there are only certain things that get covered in this county. So if you're going to find out anything else outside of that, you have to go to alternative media.
Well, then you've got it. Then you've got cover-ups. Here's just a very small one. So there were some people look at the letters to the editor. Now, you may not know in the Courier that they reserved the right to change your letter to the editor. And I don't mean just taking off bad language. I mean, they just change key words, and sometimes it ends up not making any sense because they've changed the key word. So that didn't happen this time. The letters to the editor in today's Courier were all front loaded for the levy. You got to vote for the levy, and this is people voting for the levy.
Yes.
And then it was continued on some other back page, continued on the next issue, or continued on the some other place. And when you get back there, you see a couple of letters that call the whole thing to task. And one of them is from Bill Kangas, who used to be a city councilor, and he's talking about the ISF. The only letter, as I recall in reading it, that's talking about the ISF, the Internal Services Fund, and questioning this thing. They keep using the word skimming, and this is great because we made it up. Okay, not made it up, but that was our term. And he's talking about skimming the money and doing this, and so obviously he watches this show, and then that was the only one. But he mentions in there Harry Mackin, good for you. And he mentions Pat Fahey and a couple of the other levyistas. And then right at the end of all the letters. Now, so the unique thing is, it's the only one talking about ISF. It's the only one that mentions Pat Fahey by name. And then at the very end, just in the tail end of all the letters to the editor, there's Pat Fahey's wife. Oh, and she's mentioning all the reasons why the ISF shouldn't be criticized because it's a wonderful thing. Mm-hmm. Now, these are these are just coincidences. The fact that the letters, the anti-levy letters are at the end, Coincidence? The fact that this one about the ISF is followed by a final letter which specifically criticizes that, written by the wife of the guy that he's saying bad things about. Coincidence?
Yes. Yeah, it was funny because Jim Moore was at this little event today with Petunia the pig, and he's interviewing the guy who's
Jeff
I
Crop.
forget it. Jeff. Okay.
Jeff.
So he's interviewing, right. He's interviewing Jeff, and, Jeff's going, well, you got the $600,000 software thing and the $60,000 maintenance thing. And I piped in, I said, hey, don't forget the guy they had to hire, because even with the maintenance fee, they still couldn't figure the software out. And so that's another $60,000 a year on top of that. And he goes, oh, thank you very much for saying that. And then Jim Morse starts questioning it, and I said, Jim, you're here looking at all this stuff. And then he looks over at me, he goes, well, this isn't a debate, sorry, I contributed some information there, and I'm sorry that, you should be the guy who knows all this stuff. You should be the one saying, oh, yeah, and by the way, there's something else here. He should be the fountain of information.
Yeah, but he's not covering the news. He's covering up the news. When I went to the press conference about the Demick Tower, they were real surprised to see me there because they didn't even advertise it, and I still knew there was a press conference going on. And I'm setting up, and I'm talking with this guy, and I'm interviewing him, right? And then the camera guy, they shoot some pictures and also occasionally video from the Daily Courier, walks right in front of me while I'm talking with the guy. Blocking news, okay? Tell them about your experience with that today, Mike.
Oh, yeah. There's a courtesy that is generally extended between media that you don't get in the way of my camera, or you don't stand in front of my microphone or whatever. And I'm standing there. It's clear, I'm not invisible, and I've got my camera pointed. There's something going on. The guy's standing up there talking, and the Courier photographer's walking right in front of, blocking the shot. What are you doing? Just really, and I don't know. I mean, he never even acknowledged that I was there. So, but you would think, hey, there's something going on here. Maybe I could look around and see if I'm getting in somebody. And then Jim Moore walks right in front, and literally right in front of the camera. Wow. Really, really something.
As Dave Toller used to say, when there'd just be me and the camera in a room, and a new person would walk into that little back room. And more than once, Dave Toller said, and he wasn't kidding, you can stand in front of the camera if you like. Stand in front of nobody ever did it. But Dave was encouraging, no, that's okay. He's got no right to just, to not have somebody stand in front of him. You can just go ahead and stand in front of him. What? Really?
Yeah, it's bizarre.
I mean, even if you think that nobody watches this, even if you think 1,000 videos means nothing, 1,000, and even if you think that 250,000 views, 250,000 views means nothing, and even if you think that all the people that watch our show are more than those who watch all the media on demand from every news or never mind, it's too much promotion. We don't make any money off of this, so that's the only reward that we get. Skip that. Okay, go to the next thing, which is things that happened associated with a pig.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what are we talking about here? This fellow Jeff Croft was here 2 years ago. And he was here because of the levy. And this is the picture of him out in front of the courthouse. And he's saying, what does that say? Josephine County Commission won the Porker Award. And so we went down there. We were covering all kinds of things. We went to the general discussion where we caught the commissioners breaking the law. What's new? That's not news, Dale. Yeah, but we're going to tell you about it anyway. Then Mike went in the direction of these guys, while I was with the commissioners, and then the two of us got together when it came time for this rolling up of this pig, and they're going to talk about how the commissioners are interested in things like pork. What pork could you possibly mean, Dale? Well, you brought up the 600,000. How about spending money on 90 jobs created by putting a plaque on a rock. See, it's all in the timing. A plaque on a rock.
Yeah.
And this is economic development. Really. So go ahead and play the first of those little interviews that we did. They're only a minute long. You can watch them.
Calculated what all of the things that they wanted in this levy, and we calculated them out, and it came out to $11,326,836, and that was just the things that they needed the first year. But that does not include the unknown juvenile justice center reopening costs. So we have no clue what that will be. So that's a deficit just the first year of $2,236,236. So they won't be able to have all 160 beds open at the jail, and they won't be able to get 22 new vehicles for their current 6 and estimated 16 more sheriff's deputies. And there's a lot of other things that they're going to have to really tighten their budget on if this is really what they're asking for. So I urge you to vote no on 1766. Thank you.
Now, one thing you see is a common theme in all the videos we're going to show you today. Traffic was crazy today. Traffic behind these guys in this tent. Joseph Rice is so dark. I had to brighten up the tent crazy just to see him so they didn't look like he was just a big black blob.
Let me tell you that is a lot better than the first shot that they had proposed, and that was having them with the bright sun shining on the back of the tent behind them. They would have been almost totally blacked out. And so this was the compromise to kind of move them around and have the shot be, with the sun on this side as opposed to,
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that to him, that the only reason that we get involved in that is we'd like you to be able to see who's talking to you. That's all. And we'd like to have great audio if we can. But as I pointed out, and as you'll see in this next one, there was just nothing but traffic today. It was crazy traffic day. So play the one with, go ahead. On
the one with Joseph, I mean, literally I-5, you could take a rock and throw it and hit I-5 from there. So that's why that was very noisy. And then of course, 6th Street, you can see it right behind our next guy. This is Bill Hunker.
I was talking with someone the other day, and we were mentioning the crisis that actually started in 2012 when they let all of the 39 prisoners out of the jail. And I realized that it was 8 deputies that were let go that caused that to start. And I thought, if that was a true crisis that was happening right then and people understood it, why didn't the county commissioners step in at that point and say, those 8 deputies are extremely important to the security of this county. Let's do a across-the-board cut for wages so that we can keep those deputies. Or let's go find other people that are less important to county safety and maybe let them go because county safety is so important. And that didn't happen. So the crime crisis started.
Yeah. That's all he wanted to say. Look, we're trying to bring you new things instead of just variations on a theme. Yes, there's a little bit of that, but we're trying to bring you new information. This is new information being brought to you.
You know what? That is just such a solid point.
Yes.
And this is about the priorities of county government and probably government everywhere you go. It's that we cut the employees where the rubber meets the road, firemen, policemen, that type of thing, because we know, not because we have a hatred for those people, because we don't necessarily, but what it is we want to put pressure on you to make you fork over some more dough so that we can have some more money to play with. Now, what they could have done, exactly what Bill said, and what any business does. Let's say all of a sudden a business hits hard times, some big unforeseen expense, some new tax increase, something that comes along that hits your business, and all of a sudden you have to economize everywhere just to stay above water. Okay, they keep claiming that's the condition that we're in this county. So if that's the case, then you cut back here and there. Safety is supposed to be number one. Safety is the number one obligation of the county government. So why wouldn't they, listen, knock loose a couple of pencil pushers, and keep a couple of deputies. And they could certainly do that, because I know they've hired a bunch of people this year. And, that's the correction. I said they keep hiring people. And Jim Moore goes, well, a lot of those people were just replacements. I go, well, good. Don't replace them. Right. Are we in dire straits, or aren't we? If we are, then start acting like it, for crying out loud.
I have a suggestion. There's 3 secretaries in with the commissioners. They're never going to cut them back. Are you kidding me? And so one of them is a bitter pill. She should not be working with the public in any way whatsoever. She'd be tough on paper if she was just filing it. So there's a person that could go right away and never come back. And we wouldn't, not only would we not notice, if we did notice, we'd celebrate. But no, it's like you're saying, well, we got to economize in this household. Oh, are we going to cut back on medicine, Daddy? How about on food? No, we're going to cut back on oxygen.
Yes. No, it's a silly thing. And just a quick little point like that from Bill Hunker, just kind of takes your mind in a different direction. You go, that's certainly true. They certainly could have made certain cutbacks, and right now they could make certain cutbacks for the benefit of the sheriff's office. However, the will to do that does not exist.
Well, that's not going to make you feel like you have to vote for something if they're cutting back, unless they're cutting back something that you feel that you need. And then if you're not sure that you need it, in fact, you're pretty sure you don't need it, they're going to keep telling you every day how much you need it. You just don't understand. You need it. You need it. You need it. No, we don't. Yes, you do. No, we don't. You just don't understand. You better do it this time. Hey, we said 9. No. We said 9 and German. We said no 9 times in a row. No, you don't understand. You have to have this. You really do want it. No, we don't. No,
9. 9.
Well, I'm hoping, what Mike's hoping, and I'm hoping too, is that we're going to respond in such a resounding way that it's going to make them pause for about 3 days before they come up with the next thing.
Yeah, I know. This is the thing. It would be lovely to put this referendum on the ballot that says, hey, how about no levies for a couple of years, huh?
It can't be a referendum. It could be, because that would be illegal. It could be an information request, a freedom of information request. It could be something saying, what is your opinion? So just give them a solid feedback, because we got that, the commissioner, but see, we can't put that on the ballot. Even if we got 1 million signatures, no, says the state, that's because we asked, that's not possible. That has to be put on there by the commissioners. You think that they're going to ask that?
It's really, really sad that if the voice of the people who are going to elect or not re-elect them say, hey, how about no more levies? You'd think that they might listen to that, or you would hope that they would try to listen to that. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I'll be going to this meeting. See, Mike's such a fortunate guy. He doesn't have to go, but I'll go to this meeting on Thursday, the second meeting of the Budget Committee. Now, out of 6 members on the Budget Committee, 5 of them are very strong proponents of the levy, and the levy, they think, is the key to the budget. 5 out of 6. Now, the commissioners have the ability to pull other kinds of people into the Budget Committee, but they're not going to do that. Now, think about it for a second. Even if it was 50-50, which it's not, but even if it was, don't you think that 50% of the members of the Budget Committee should reflect the opinions of the majority of the citizens? No, they're not going to do that, because so who's on it? Pat Fahey is on it. Well, of course, as Keith Hicks said, Pat Fahey wasn't the chair he'd not been chair of this committee. Keith, either you don't know or you're lying to us again, because of course he was. And the other guy, Jim Brumbach. Remember Jim Brumbach? He was the guy. where did Jim Brumbach fit into the news last Sunday, Mike?
Well, he was one of the guys hanging out in the back of the River Valley Church there to talk to people, counsel them after the service on
about Jesus. About Jesus?
No, it was about what they should vote for. On May 19th.
Right, and the pastor, who is also a member of Cuffs, encouraged them to come up and ask questions of the assembled people there. We have. What usually happens at church, we've got people here who are going to give you counseling. Oh, yes. Yeah, they're going to give you counseling about which way to vote.
Yeah, and that would destroy my trust in the church. I mean, entirely. That would be it. I mean, if you're willing to, make certain statements like they did about, what the future of your soul is, and its connection to how you vote on this particular issue. Wow. Yeah, I'm done with you.
Is there any doubt in your mind that these people feel that the future of your soul is wrapped up in how you vote on this levy?
I don't know if they actually believe that or not, but if they do, they're seriously deluded.
Well, we have one more video to show you, and that is of Jeff Kropf, who came in from Salem with his friend Petunia, and he's talking about this award that the commissioners have won once again. And here's Mike with that little bit of a video insert for you. Now, it's live from his camera, so don't expect it to be perfect, but he did a nice job of shooting this. Go ahead, Mike.
If they trusted government, I wouldn't be here. You guys would be voting on this thing and it would be passing. But they simply don't. And so when you have a group of leaders that will not be transparent, and we believe that's what's occurring here, then we give out an award called the Porker Award to politicians, to government bureaucrats, at all levels, all across this state. We started the state of Oregon. We've gone to the city of Corvallis. We've gone many other places. And we do that to illustrate that the people can stand up and they can hold their elected officials accountable. And we do that with Petunia. She's hard to miss. We travel all over the state with her. And usually I am dressed in a tuxedo when it's time to give away the Porker Award. And so we give away the Porker Award by putting a banner up here, and we simply drop the banner. We're going to do that now. So we award Petunia's Porker Award to the Josephine County Commissioners.
One thing that is, there was several people who spoke there. Most of them, when watching my footage back, you couldn't hear them. This guy modulates very well. I mean, he definitely was born to public speak or be on the radio or something. He's got a really good voice for, getting it out there.
Well, I shot some footage, as we do. We cover the media also. And I shot footage over the shoulder of the Channel 5 reporter that was there. And we're going to put that up at another time, not tonight, so that you can see the kind of questions she asked. And you can see this from the context of her point of view and what they put in their stories and what they didn't. What we try to do is, we're the only ones that do this, is we also cover the media, not only social media with Mike, but also, and he's just been recently given quite a position with making sure that that happens and that everything is fair for everybody. But we take a look. And so would you think that with these two events today and a third event with the commissioners and the event that happened last Wednesday with Shara Walker and breaking state law, would you think that that would be on KJO? Come on. Would you think it would be on KJO? Do you really think it would be on KJO? Any of these things? No, that's not on KJO. Would you think that with these things happening in the morning, that, and with Jim Moore being at one of the events, that it might be in the Courier? Well, not so far. Really? No, it's here. We're telling you what the news is. But as KJO decided, and not telling you the results of the Republican Central Committee vote, and by the way, The second lady that you saw there, the one, Vivian Kirkpatrick Pilger, she tells us today that the Republican women, we're not Republicans and we're not women, despite the rumors. She tells me that the Republican women of Josephine County voted unanimously to say no to the levy. So if you're Republican and if you like women, you might want to pay attention to that.
Okay.